All right, so we're going to pick back up. We're going to come back to our floor plan real quick, and we're going to look at it here. So we're now going to look at this door here, this door here. So let's do the bathroom door first. We have a 2'4", and then we have a 2'6" door. So just like any other command and any other object in AutoCAD, we're going to go ahead and use the mirror command. Sorry about that. Flip it around. So I'm going to go just grab that door. I'm going to say mirror that object, and I'm going to do it right across that midline. And again, it's asking me, hey, do you want to erase your originals? No, I don't. Pan up, grab a trim across here, and that one there is solved. So we'll tackle this door here, which is a 2'4" door. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the door, bring it in. So the only thing that really differs on this one is where you put it. So I could have offset it out 4 inches and had a line there. I'm actually going to put it in this corner. And then it's going to say, hey, what's your XYZ? Hit 1 or hit enter for 1. And what's your rotation angle? And so this rotation angle is actually going to be 90 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on there. And now I want to get it off of that wall a little bit. So I'm going to use my move command, and I'm going to move it up 4 inches. So I've got to set the size, come over here, set the size to 2'4". And that door now, other than trimming it out, is going to be complete. So just going to keep progressing around here. This one here is a little bit different because it's a double door. So it's not actually going to be the D. It's not going to be the single D door. It's going to be the D door. So drag this one in. And you're going to see right off the bat, this one here doesn't come in on the hinge. It comes in on the center point. Because mostly when we're doing double doors, they're going to be more centrally located on a wall. So I'm going to type that in, and as you can see here, that door is wanting to change size. So just like with everything else, it's looking for a scale factor. So we're just going to hit enter. And now it's looking for a rotation. And now this one here, we're going to go ahead and just drag in the 0 rotation and click. So let's go back to our floor plan and remind ourselves what size that door was. And that is a 5'0" door, which really consists of two 2.5-foot doors. So we think 5 foot, we divide that by 2, we end up with 2'6". So come back into this, we'll grab this, and let's see what controls we have. Well, the first control is we have this one here that shows it at a 45 degree. That's not what I'm looking for. My second control is my jams, which are already set appropriately. My third control is going to be this one. So as you can see, as I drag this, it's actually locking on to normal double door size. So this is a 1'6", which would mean that's a 3-foot door. That's a 2 foot, which means it's a 4-foot door. That's a 2'6", which means it's a 5'0" door. And then lastly, we have a 3-foot door, which would be a 6-foot double door. So in this case, we're going to go ahead into that 2'6" and just click. And we have our double door in. We're just going to trim it up. I grab that's done. And again, I'm going to be lazy and use the mirror command across here just to put in that bottom door. Go ahead and use my trim command to clean that up. And we're going to go ahead and tackle this side of the house over here now. So let's go back to our floor plan and let's see what size we're dealing with. So we've got a 3 foot, a 3 foot that are both centered. So they're centered on those closets. And then we've got, actually that says 3 foot and it shouldn't be. That should actually be a 2'4". I have a correction to make on that. So we're going to call that one a 2'4". And I apologize, that should be fixed. So we're going to make that a 2'4". I can't type. So that's okay. We'll just make sure that we make that 2'4". But this is 3 foot. This is 3 foot. We're going to correct this one here. All right. So let's come back into AutoCAD. We're going to go ahead and grab our single doors. So grab a door, bring it in. Now, again, I could have drawn a line from the midpoint. In this case, I'm just going to kind of set it on the midpoint and hit enter. And this might make sense in a second. I'm just going to move it up using that grip. And now I got to move it to the left 1'6". And the reason why, again, it's a 3-foot door. I want to center it. That's why I did that. I'm going to go ahead and mirror that over to the other side. I'm going to do some trimming to clean that up. And then one thing that you'll notice here is that this door was shown half closed so that it didn't interfere with the door coming into the room. So we're going to go ahead and click on this door, and this control closest to the hinge will allow us to change that to a 45 degree angle door. This one over here is going to stay that way. We're going to go ahead and drag another door in. And again, this one's going to be centered, but it's going to be on this side of the wall. So I'm going to click here, hit enter, and I'm going to change the rotation. And prior to sliding it over, I'm actually going to change it. It doesn't really matter, but it's going to be a 2'4". So half of 2'4" is 1'2". So I'm going to go ahead and slide this door over 1'2". And that's going to give that to me. And it doesn't look centered. And the reason why it doesn't look centered is because currently it's a 3 foot door, but we need to change this to a 2'4". So we change it to a 2'4", and now you'll see that that door now looks like it's perfectly centered, and we're ready to continue on to our closets and our bedroom door. So let's tackle this up here. 2'4" coming into the powder room, half open. 2'6" coming into the bedroom, again half open. So let's grab our door. So let's tackle this room first. So we're going to put it here. We're going to hit enter. We're going to rotate it this way. Again, it's a 2'4" door, so I'm going to move it over 1'2" to get it centered. 1'2". And now at this point, we're going to go ahead and change the door size to a 1 foot or a 2'4". That door is in. We're going to go ahead and trim it. Additionally, to trim, we're also going to change that to a half open door, 45-degree door. And when you do a half-inch door or a half-closed door, we actually have another trim to come in here and do. I didn't do it on this one, but let's go ahead and do it there as well. So let's go ahead and get this door in, and now we're going to notice that this is open and ours is not open. So we're going to look at how to make that open as well. So let's tackle this 2'6" door. Get this in. And again, just sort of repeating, I want it to be in the middle. I'm going to want it to be this rotation. Now, I want that point to actually be here. So I got to move that. And now it's a 1'6" door. So I've got to divide that in half. So I'm going to move it this way. Half of 2'6" is going to be 1'3". Put it up into place. Grab this. Let's go ahead and change the size to 2'6". Let's go ahead and flip the door the right direction, and let's go ahead and close the door halfway. And now we're going to go ahead and trim this one up, and we're going to zoom in here and trim that. And you'll see now we have most of those doors taken care of. We're missing a 2'8" and a 3'0", and you'll see that these are 4 inches out of the corner. So let's go do this 3-foot door first. Again, just same sort of process. Dragging this in. Now this one here is a little bit trickier because I don't really have that other point. So I'm just going to kind of put it in out of place, flip this door properly, move it from that point to the corner, and then I'm going to move it over 4 inches to get it out of that corner. And now that door is properly placed. I'm going to go ahead and trim that. I owe myself a 2'8" door coming into the laundry room. Again, that's going to be on that 4-inch off the corner type of situation. Again, this one here, I'd put it in, rotate it the proper direction. This one here, I'm going to have to change the swing, put that point over into the corner, move this up 4 inches, and I'm going to change the door size to a 2'8". And I think, if I'm correct, we have all the doors. And now we're going to take care of this little opening here. So again, like I said in the past, when you're doing corners, typically we use fillet, but if I do fillet here, it's going to delete that top half of the wall, which I need. So that's not the desired result. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to use the extend, and then I'm going to go ahead and use the trim command across here. And you'll see that that cleaned up pretty quickly and nicely, and we're good to go. So that goes ahead and pushes us through to our next step. I do believe we have everything that we needed on step number 5. We're going to roll into step number 6. And so step number 6 is labeled as adding kitchen and bathroom items. So we're going to start tackling this little bathroom over here first. We're going to be using the tub block, the toilet block, the V36 block for this bathroom. So let's go ahead and focus in on this bathroom now. So you'll notice here that our CAD library is organized, and we have dynamic blocks, we have DM blocks, which stands for door maker blocks. But more importantly, down here on plan, we have a planned bathroom. So we're working on a floor plan, so we know we're in the plan section, and we're working in a bathroom. So now we're going to look at these items, and let's go ahead and start from left to right, right? So we got a tub, a toilet, a V36. So we're gonna go ahead and grab a tub. We're gonna drag it in, and we're gonna go ahead and place it in that corner. And then again, AutoCAD's asking us for a scale. We're just gonna hit enter. And again, we're gonna hit enter again for the scale. And now it's asking me for a rotation. So again, I can type in -90. I can aim it in this direction. Honestly, any of them work. I like to use O-snap sometimes, so I'll click down here to make sure I get it in the right orientation. And that block is good to go. We're gonna go ahead and drag a toilet in. The toilet, we're just gonna sort of like put somewhere for now. We're not even gonna worry about where it goes. We're just gonna pop it in. And then lastly, we have a V36. And so this one's gonna be a little confusing because you guys are going to want to put it in that corner right there. But if I click there, it's going to jump over here to the midpoint. So this one presents a little bit of a challenge. So we're just going to put it out in space. We're going to hit enter to accept the defaults to get it the right orientation. And then quite simply, we're just going to use our move command. So here we go. We're just going to move this from that corner to that corner. And now I need to move this toilet and fit perfectly between this point and this point. But if I highlight this, we can see that the midpoint of the line is actually over here, which is not centered between the tub and the vanity. So there's a couple different ways that we can do this. Secondly, if we use our move command and we say, hey, I want to move this from the midpoint to the midpoint, we can see that that's not right. And we can also see that the toilet's up against the wall. And if you think about your house, your toilet doesn't actually sit against the wall. It sits a little bit away from the wall. So if I highlight the block, if you can see that little blue dot right there, that little blue dot is called an insertion point. And that's where the block wants to natively come in. And you can see here, it's perfectly spaced to keep that toilet off the wall just by the perfect amount for install. And what that ends up doing is that ends up being the right spot. But this midpoint is not between this point and this point. That midpoint right there is between this point and the other side of the tub, right? So that's not actually where I want to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this block down, and I'm just going to put it here for now. Now I'm going to drag it back in, but it's telling, hey, where do you want it? So I can turn off F8 and I can kind of go, I want it right there, but I want it in the midpoint. So I'm going to hold down Control and I'm going to right click, and that's going to give me the midway between 2 points option. So I want it midway between this point and that point. And when I click, it's going to go perfectly centered between those two spots. And that's going to be the bathroom. So we're going to go ahead over to this bathroom. This is a little powder room. If we flip back to our floor plan, we're going to zoom in here. We have a sink ped, which is a pedestal sink. And obviously we have a toilet. So let's come back in. Let's go ahead and grab our toilet, which is right here, drag it in. And this time I'm just going to go ahead and place it right on the center of that wall. Hit enter to get my rotate or my scale factors. Now I want it to be what rotation? I want it to be perfectly vertical. I'm going to type in 90 this time and hit enter. That's good to go. I'm going to find sink head. I'm going to drag this in. I want this one to be on the midpoint over here. I'm going to hit enter, enter, and now I'm going to drag it. And I'm going to go ahead and just type in or click on that point. That is done. I'm going to go ahead and tackle these other ones. So we have a washer, we have a washer, and we have a dryer. So we'll come back to those in just a moment. Let's go ahead and finish up this bathroom. So this bathroom, looks like I have a little wall here that we didn't put in before that has also a 2.0 door, which we didn't have on the last stage, right? So we come back to step 4. We'll see that that didn't exist back here. So it looks like we had to add something. So let's go ahead and get that added in. That's a 3-foot wide room with a 3.5-inch wall with a 2.0 door. So here we go. Offset 3 foot. This is coming over. 3.5 inches is pulling that way. We're going to go ahead and trim this out, get that in the right spot. We're going to go ahead back to our dynamic blocks. We're going to go ahead and grab our door. We're going to go ahead and pop that into that corner. We're going to drag it straight down so it's there. We're going to pull it out of the corner by 4 inches. We're going to change the size to a 2.0 door. We're going to look at it and see what we're missing. That looks like that is perfectly placed and ready to go. We're going to trim that out. Now we're going to come back to our plan blocks for bathroom. We're going to go ahead and grab our toilet again. That toilet's going to go down on this wall. Enter, enter, rotate it the right direction, click. I do believe we had a V72. We're going to go ahead and drag that in. And now you can see again, like if I put it here, it's going to be the wrong rotation. So I'm just going to put it in over here. I'm going to rotate it to the right angle. And then I'm just going to use my move command to sort of populate that into there. And then it looks like we also have a shower over on the other side of the room, and that's called a shower 60. We're going to come into here. We're going to find our showers, which are S, and we're going to find shower 60. We're going to drag this shower in. I'm going to put it down in that corner. Enter, enter, drag it the right direction. And we are now done that master bathroom. We added that wall, we added that door, and now let's go ahead and deal with the washer and dryer. So those are under utilities. So if we come under utilities, we're going to find a washer. We're just going to drag it in. I kind of put it over in that space. And we're going to go ahead and grab a dryer. I'm going to go ahead and put this one over here in this space. And we're just going to sort of move these around to where they look good. Now, this just represents not an actual washer or dryer. It just represents where they're going to go. So we're not going to spend a lot of time getting those in an exact location. It's just sort of generally placed. So we have this bathroom done. We have the laundry room done. We have this powder room done. We have this bathroom done. And you'll see here now we got to tackle this kitchen. And so we have a couple things going on. One, I'm going to point out here, I never really cut out this opening for this, which I do believe this is the first step that told us to do that. This opening happens to be 4 foot wide off the center. And you can see there I have 2 dimensions. From the center, it's going up 2 feet, down 2 feet. So I know it's 4 foot opening. And that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm just going to draw a little line from here, from the midpoint over. I'm going to use my offset command. I'm going to say 2 feet. We're going to go 2 up, 2 down. We're going to use a trim command across here. We're going to use our trim command, and erase that little line out of there, and I'm good to go. So now I have a kitchen to do. In the kitchen, we're going to have a 2 foot countertop depth, and then it's going to be 3 foot from the countertop to the island. Same thing's going to apply up here. 2 foot for a countertop depth, and then 3 foot to the island. The countertops, we're going to actually just manually draw those in, and we're going to use offset tools to do that. And so we're just going to kind of look, you see a little bit of gap between here and here. It looks to be about 8 inches, 7 inches or so. Same thing's going to apply here. It's about 7 inches off. I'm not overly going to concern myself with like actually making it perfect dimensions. I'm just going to pick a little spot that semi looked like what it was. I'm just going to draw a random line. I'm going to use my offset command. Bring this out 2 feet. I'm going to use my fillet command. Hit that corner, use my extend command, extend that over. I'm going to do the same thing on the back side. So offset this down 2 feet. Use my fillet command to create that corner. It's going to sort of pick a spot that looks similar. There it is. Use my fillet command for there to there. And then trim that off. And I have my kitchen counters. We have a sink double located directly under that window, and we have an oven that looks like it's almost centered on that wall over there, or centered on that countertop. So let's go ahead and we're going to predict or guess which folder it is. We're working on a plan, so we know it's going to be a plan, and we're working on a kitchen, so it's going to be right here. I'm going to go ahead and grab a oven, and I'm going to place it right in the middle of that countertop, rotate it the right direction, and then I'm going to move it up against the wall. And so if you look here, it's going to snap to the wrong spot, which is going to cause me a problem. So I'm going to introduce you to a new O-snap that we haven't used before. So I'm going to hold down Control, right click, and I'm going to use the perpendicular. So I want to go from that point to a perpendicular spot. I'm sorry, yeah. And so there we go. We have perpendicular. I'm going to go ahead and trim this out. And now our oven is in. Now we're going to go ahead and grab our sink double, drag that in. Put that at the midpoint, enter, 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 and we are now good as far as having that put in. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and populate that island. And we can see that island is located 3 foot off and 3 foot off. And I do want to just note that that 3 foot dimension goes to that point, not to that point. So it's a little tricky. We're not going to, again, be overly concerned about that, but let's go ahead and try to do it right. We're also going to look at this. It's called the Island 60-2. So we're going to go ahead and grab the Island 60-2, drag this in, And what I'm going to do is if you look at where it's putting it in, it's putting it in on that spot I was telling you it was going to. So we're going to put it up in this corner and we're going to hit enter and we're going to hit enter and then we're going to rotate it the right direction. And now you must be wondering, like, why would you put it in that corner? Well, as we looked at the dimensions, we already noticed that it needed to be 3 foot off of this wall and 3 foot, or not off of this wall, but off this edge of the counter. And it needed to be 3 foot off of the edge of that cabinet as well. So by putting it in that corner, I can use my move command. And I'm just going to move this down 3 feet. And I'm just going to grab it again and I'm just going to move it out 3 feet. And it is exactly where we wanted it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a dimension from here to here, and you're going to see that that's 3 foot. We're going to do that again from this point to this point, and we're going to also see there that that's 3 foot as well. So that just verified that my island went to the right spot, and we are ready to progress on to the next step, which is going to be step 7. And I realized at some point I stopped making copies. So let me go ahead and make a copy of this just in case we have any mess ups and we have to backtrack a little bit. So we are looking at step 7, and it says what are we doing? We're adding closet shelving and the upper kitchen cabinets. And so it says you need to offset the shelf and rod. The shelf is 12 inches off of the wall and the rod is 10 inches. So in every closet, we're going to have a shelf edge, which is going to be that forward line, and we're going to have a rod edge, which is where you actually hang your hangers on, the round rod. So you're basically 1 foot off the back wall, and then you're 10 inches off the back wall. So let's go ahead, back over to AutoCAD, and we're going to tend to this closet. So I'm going to go ahead and do offset 10 inches. Click, click, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this one while I'm here since offset's already set for 10. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So now I have all my closet rods done. I'm going to go ahead and hit 12 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that one, push that up, push that up, push that one, and that one. Okay, so all of my closets are done. Let's go back and read this a little bit more. The rod and the upper cabinet color will be color 230 with a line type of hidden 2. All right, so let's go ahead and also look here. Hey, we still have to do our upper cabinets, and we can see from here to here is 12 inches, and that's going to be consistent along the back wall as well. So since I already had the offset command up and it was already set to 12, I just went back in the offset, hit enter, and I'm going to go ahead and offset this out and this one out. And now I have a little bit of extending and trimming to do and filleting. So I'm going to fillet this first. I'm going to extend, and then it's going to ask me, hey, I want to do a boundary edge. I want it to go to here. And then hit enter, and I want that line to go there. If I didn't do that, look what I have to do. I have to go to extend, and I have to click here, and then click here, and click here, and click here. It's hitting every spot on that sink. And that took way too long, right? So the last time I just said, I'll undo that. I said extend, hey, boundary. I want it to go to here. And I want this line to be the line to go there. So that's that. Let's go ahead and trim this off down here and let's start changing the colors. So it said the upper cabinets and the rods, which are the ones that are closer to the back wall, are going to be a color. So I'm going to come up here to my color palette. It's going to be color 230, and nobody in here is going to be able to guess which one it is. So I'm going to type in, I'm going to hit more colors, and you're going to get this little context menu that pops up. I'm going to go ahead and type in 230 and just hit enter. So they changed to that, and then it also said on there that we're going to have to change the line type to hidden 2. So let's come back to this, and since we already have those already selected, we're going to change the line type right here to hidden 2. And you'll see now that they're showing as dashed. The upper cabinets are shown as dashed. And then we have one more thing here to do. It says the shelf will be color yellow. So now we have to go back and we have to highlight our shelves, which is the further edge, the one that was 12 inches away. So we're going to grab that, and one more, that one. And we're going to change the color of that to yellow. Do not use these colors up here. Use only the index colors. We'll talk about why that is at a much later date. And so there we go. I'm going to flip back, make sure we didn't miss anything. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Looks good. We're going to move on to step 8. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. We are now moving on to step 8, and we are going to go ahead and go back to our thing and figure out what step 8 is asking us to do. So step 8 is asking us to add dimensions. And so it says here we're going to add all of the minor dimensions. So there's minor, mid, and major dimensions. Minors are going to locate windows and door openings and things like that. Also corners of buildings, and then we have what we call our mid. So that's going to be the like wall lengths, and we'll talk about that on the next one. And then we have our major, which is going to basically dimension the outside of the overall dimensions of our building, and we'll talk about that on step 10. So let's start here on step 8, and so you can see here what this is doing is this is going to add annotation from the corner of the building to the midpoint, from the midpoint to the midpoint, from the midpoint to the midpoint, so on and so forth. Then we get down to this midpoint to corner, corner to midpoint, 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 corner. So let's jump back in AutoCAD. I'm going to go ahead and make a shift here, and I'm going to tell you guys, go ahead and jump over to your layer that's called dimensions, so that these are on the proper layer. So I went ahead and I just clicked on this. We clicked on dimensions. We're actually done with our design center, so we're going to hit Control-2 to give ourselves a little more real estate on screen. And we're going to go ahead and start a dimensioning. So there are a few different dimensioning ways that you can do this. We're going to focus on the linear dimension, and we're just going to go from corner to midpoint. And we're going to drag this up, and if you look, I just drag it a little bit past the overall floor plan. It's up here. And so now I'm just going to go linear dimension again. And I'm just going to go from here to here. And my mouse button is not working properly. I'm going to line it up with that. I'm going to hit enter from here to here. Bring it over from here to here. And I'm just going to continue this process as I finish up these last couple dimensions across the top. From here to here. Here. And this is the scenario where you want to make sure your O snaps are set perfectly. Make sure that you have your midpoint O snap turned on. Make sure you have your endpoint turned on. And now I'm going to start just working my way down this vertical wall. And at this point, let's just pretend that this is the proper dimension, but let's just pretend that that was supposed to be 8 feet. At this point, if I had to correct that and I said, hey, look, you know what? That window was supposed to be a ½ inch further down. I can actually use my stretch tool, select the dimension and the window, and just drag that down 0.5 of an inch, and that would actually correct that dimension. So I'm going to undo that so it's consistent with your drawing, but that's how we would make a correction if we discovered it at the dimensioning stage. And so again, I'm just bringing it back up to the other dimension. I'm going to come across here, drag this out. Endpoint to endpoint. And this is a little tedious, to be honest with you. There is one other dimensioning tool that will make this a little bit easier, but we'll save that for a later date. Now this one here is a little tricky because like I don't really have the spot that I need it to be in. So this goes back to that I can right click and say midway between 2 points, and I want it to be between there and there. And so that's going to give me the dimension I'm looking for. And then when I do this again, I'm going to say dimension linear, and I want to go from here, and now I want to go back to that same point again. So I got to go back and say control right click midway between here and here. And we're going to go ahead and pull that down, get that one stretched into the right spot. And then I'm just going to continue back like I was doing for everything else. That's the only scenario I think that comes in. So two more, and we're done the minor dimensioning. And I hit the space bar to act as an enter key to get me back into my dimensioning. So let's flip back, make sure we got everything. Looks like we do. Let's go ahead and make a copy of this. Call that one step 8. We're going to copy this whole thing. We're now going to leave ourselves a little more room. We're going to be step 9. So let's figure out what step 9 is. So step 9 says adding dimensionings, add all the major dimensions. So these are going to be all of our wall lengths. And as you can see here, you have all these here for the windows and doors, and corners. But now we're going to have a dimension here that's just going to be from this corner to this corner, and then from this corner to this corner, and so on and so forth. So we're going to go ahead and progress around. So we're going to start here, make some progress on these dimensions, go from this corner to this corner. Well, I missed that first click, so just go back. Drag that out. We want it to look nice, so we get a nice little gap there. There are standards on what they should be. We're probably not going to do that for a while, but just knew that there is standards. We're going to bring this one up to here. Now this one here, there really are no other walls. There's only one wall. So I'm just going to grab a dimension from there down to the very end. Again, try to be consistent with your gap. You can see that that gap and that gap are close. We're going to go ahead and just finish this up. Click here to here, get a little gap. And now we're going to maintain that for the rest. So we're going to go from here to that corner. Now we're just skipping the windows and doors. We're doing the walls, just skipping the windows and doors. And we're going to go back and look at our drawing and show you what we're doing down here. So over here on this wall, we haven't dimensioned this. We don't know how big that is yet. So we're going to actually grab that, put that in there. We're going to grab this wall, put it in here. We're going to slide way over here, grab that wall, and then we're going to slide up here and grab this wall. So I'm going to start with this. And so this is a little bit tricky. I'm actually going to dimension from here, but I'm going to not go to here. I'm actually going to go to here. And the reason why I did that is I don't want that red line for that dimension to cut through my window and my door. If I would have done it, I'm going to move this down here. You're going to see a big difference in this appearance. That makes this really hard to read, right? It closed off the door. It kind of muddied up the window a little bit. So we're going to actually dimension from there to there. And then we're going to apply that same practice for our next one. We're going to go from here to here. We're going to drag that out. We're going to go from here, and I'm going to slide up to the top of the floor plan to here, bring that back down to this, and you'll see I'm doing a lot of panning and zooming. So I'm going to come into this point, zoom out. I'm going to zoom into this point, grab that, and I'm going to drag it out to where we're going the right way, and we're going to click on that. So there we go. That's our next step. Now we're going to go to step 10. And step 10 says adding the overall dimensions, which basically literally means what it says. It's going to be a dimension from here to the very end. How wide is my house? My house is 50 feet wide. How deep is my house on the right side? My house, on the side, my house is 42 feet deep. Same with this side, and it's 50 foot wide in the back. So we're going to go ahead and just grab an overall dimension. We're going to zoom in. We're going to click. We're going to zoom in. We're going to click. Again, try to make it look consistent with your spacing. Again, it might not be perfect, but just do your best on that. We're going to go vertical, click, click. And I noticed here I had a dimension that was a little bit off. That was actually supposed to go there. And now we'll see that I have two dimensions that say 42. So I actually don't need that second one. Go ahead and delete that one. Go ahead and do another front dimension. So we're going to go from right side all the way over to the left side. So I'm just rolling my mouse up and down. And we're going to just get this back in to right there. I got one more dimension to do. So we're going to go linear. We're going to go from that point all the way to that point. And we're going to pull that dimension out. Again, try to keep consistent gapping between your dimensions. And that's going to be step 10, which brings us to the end of the packet. Now, I'm going to add one more thing here. One thing we did not do is we didn't add any interior dimensions at all. So as you guys start to wrap up step 10, if time allows, what I'd like to see you do is come in here and start dimensioning all the rooms. And the way that I would approach this is think about this as like a straight line. Okay, I want to dimension across a straight line and not have any like weird locations for dimensions when you can't help it. We want to think about this as what's the easiest way to read. And when we read, our words aren't jumbled on a piece of paper, so we really don't want to jumble our dimensions up and down. So as I come across here, I can tell that this room is 8 foot 4.5, then this little closet's 2 foot 1 deep, the bathroom's 5 foot 1, the closet's 2 foot or 5 foot, the closet's 2 foot 1, then we have a room of 8 foot 4.5, right? That's pretty easy to read. if I were to kind of mess these dimensions up and I kind of pulled this one here and pulled this one way over here and maybe even just got silly and pulled this one way over here, um, it just doesn't read as good, right? Like I'm trying to read this and this dimension's way out here for some reason, right? This doesn't nearly read as well. So I'm going to back this up until I had those in a straight line and start dimensioning that. And then what I want you guys to think is, when you go to locate a wall, you really have to locate it in like two different directions in a sense, right? I know where this one's at this way, but I don't know how wide this closet is. So I'm going to make sure that I put a dimension inside that closet and I put a dimension from the closet to the wall. And um, we're just going to line those up. It's going to be a little tricky, but we're going to do it anyways. There it is. Um, and then another thing I would do in this case, I would actually add an overall room dimension. That would come in like right here, and then I'm going to start coming across this house and kind of adding in some horizontal dimensions across here. Now this one here is going to look a little ugly, right? Because it looks like it's going to go through the wall. And it would if I lined it up. So this one here, I would tell you that that would be a really bad spot. So I would actually move that up. And if I did move that up, I'd actually take the time to readjust both of these. I know that's a little bit of a hassle, but again, we are worried about aesthetics, and I'm really picky. That bumps into that. I would actually adjust that if I was doing this for real. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and leave that one alone. And then I'm going to finish up my dimensioning here and bring it from here to here, and I'm going to line that one up with this one. And basically what I would do is I would just continue working my way through this floor plan until I had every single dimension needed to build that house. If you do miss a dimension, the contractors are not supposed to guess. They're actually supposed to stop. If they stop, they're supposed to do an RFI, which is a request for information. That request is sent to you. You are then to give them an answer, and your answer should include maybe even an updated floor plan. So with that, we are done all 10 steps. We are an hour and 37 minutes in. So let me know if you need any help.